I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to your neighborhood real estate show. The hyperlocal real estate show where real estate professionals talk about the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood you want to live in. This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today. Hey everyone, I'm Todd Bookspan, and welcome to another episode of your neighborhood real estate show. I am super excited for you to meet Lisa Westcott. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so you're with the W Group at Silverleaf Realty.
I am.
And you're in real estate. So how did you get into this great business?
So long story short, or maybe it's long, but I am from a very small town in Washington State and decided to move to Arizona in '95 and found myself nannying for, I didn't know this then, or I didn't know it at the time. He was developing the original Four Seasons in Scottsdale.
Oh, wow.
So I got to get my feet wet on that. And after working with him for about 3 years, got out of it. Felt like I loved real estate. And so I got my residential license in 2002, and I've been doing it ever since.
Oh yeah, so you've been through the good times and the tough times.
Yep, exactly, yes.
So
and I've survived.
Well, that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that anyone who's been in it for a long term, I just heard a statistic today that 35% of real estate agents across the country didn't renew their licenses this year, which I knew was gonna be a big number. I didn't expect to be that big.
That's not shocking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get into the business for the wrong reason, yeah, you're gonna end up failing.
Yeah.
If you get into it because you love it, and you want to help people, you'll figure out a way. And most of my business is based off of relationships, and that's really what it's all about.
You know, I love that. I mean, I think it's become so transactional with so many people because they're in it for, you said, the wrong reasons, right?
Yep.
Typically dollar signs.
Well, so they think. Like anytime I get it, if I'm ever given the opportunity to speak to new agents or something that people that are getting into the business, I always jump at it because I want to make sure that they understand what they're getting into. It may be hot and it may seem like it's easy. It's not easy, and it shouldn't be easy. And this is a very serious opportunity to help people purchase something that is probably their biggest investment, right? I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's, some people get into it, I say like job versus career. Like, do you really get into it? And if it's a career, you're going to learn it. You're going to be an expert at it, and you're going to give great advice because of it. And then you're, in theory, going to love it. If it's a job, you're going to punch the clock and just do a half-ass job. And unfortunately, you get a half-ass result if you're the client and go through that experience. Mm-hmm. You get your license because Aunt Sally's cousins, brothers, dog sitters, somebody is going to be selling something or buying something, and that's your one transaction for your entire career.
Yeah. You mentioned dogs. You told me before you love your dogs. Come on, talk about dogs for a second.
Obsessed with our dogs. We have a 14-year-old Bichon. She's a little white fluffy thing that we call her little silver biscuit. She's 14, and sometimes she thinks she's 2, and sometimes she thinks she's 20. Yeah. And then we have a little over 1-year-old Labradoodle, Ruby, and she is amazing. I mean, dogs just give you, pets in general, in my opinion, give you that unconditional love that when you work hard and you're doing this for everything and everyone else but yourself, you get home and they just can't wait to see you.
Yeah, exactly. They love you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're a Chihuahua family. Don't hold it against me.
No, that's fur babies.
We tried bigger dogs, and then they slowly got smaller because that's what my kids always wanted. They want to be able to carry around in a purse, but now they're too old for that. But that hasn't happened. But we don't wheel them around the neighborhood, but we do walk them on leashes with jackets when it's cold. Well,
so you bring that up. Ruby, the 1-year-old Labradoodle, loves to go for walks. She's very active and very fun and playful. The 14-year-old she has FOMO, fear of missing out. So she likes to get out there, but she can't really walk because she'll get too tired.
Oh, yeah.
So we bought her a little red wagon, and we take Ruby, and one of us pulls the little red wagon with.
You are a great dog owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the old one too, Peanut, and we have 2 we call them puppies still, but they're 2.
Yeah.
And same thing, they walk, and he every once in a while thinks he wants to walk, but that means he's going to walk to the edge of the driveway, and then you're going to carry him the rest of the way.
Exactly.
So maybe it's the red wagon. Maybe we got to invest in that red wagon.
It's amazing because it's multi-purpose. You can use it to the grocery store. You can use it for picnics, but it's awesome.
All right, so here we are, Bert, in the beginning of 2023.
Yep.
And the market was a little different last year, from it's obviously a local perspective, and, nationally there's doom and gloom. Local, we have some doom and gloom, and we have also some hope. I mean, what's your take on the market? How are you advising people on that?
Oh gosh, there's so many things to think about with this. So 2020, going towards the end of 2020, things really started to pick up in the luxury market, especially. And then you had all of all these people moving here from different states, primarily California. And you would see people who were purchasing homes with financing couldn't get into something because they had somebody else come in with cash, or they'd outbid them, or they'd offer to waive appraisals, they'd offer to waive inspections. And now what we're seeing is, in my opinion, with my clientele and my team, is a much healthier, much more balanced. Buyers don't have the upper hand on the sellers don't have the upper hand on the buyers. It's fair game.
It could be win-win then.
Yeah, it's a win-win, and there's some negotiation going on. It's very healthy. I'm so thankful that we're finally here. So thankful. And as far as the market goes, I mean, when I moved here in 95, I remember thinking to myself at 22, I was like, why aren't more people here? This is such a great place. The weather's beautiful. It's the quality of life and so on. Well, fast forward, we're no longer a little secret. Everybody wants to be here, and everybody, right. Yeah. And our cost of living compared to a lot of these other metro places, like, LA and place in New York, for example, we're finally where our competitors were as far as pricing goes. Yeah. And we're still a little below that. So why wouldn't you want to live here?
Well, I think there's, tons and tons of, activities, everything goes on here, and the weather's just pristine. As we were talking about beforehand, you're heading to Idaho. I was in Philadelphia, yeah, and it's cold other places.
It's cold. Wimp. I know, it's 50 degrees, and I'm triple layered,
yeah. So I love the whole idea of balance, and I think what's interesting about it, we were sort of talking about the career pieces, the percentage of agents in Arizona that have only been licensed since 2020 is crazy. So those folks have never been through an up or a down market. And when you start talking about negotiation, I think that's where experience really comes into play.
So important. And not just the negotiation, but if you stay on top, you have to stay on top of the ever-changing forms and contracts and lending, the restrictions. Like, if you don't know these things, you're setting your sellers up for failure. You're setting your buyers up for failure. Anything can happen. And if you don't know as much as you should know, then you can set them up to have, it could be an awful experience. And that's, our team is all about creating the best experience that we can and doing what we can to help our clients get the best deal.
I love that. So a seller who called you from California today, how would you describe the market? How would you kind of strategize an approach for them?
So I would, I would let them know, obviously, to have realistic expectations. It's not what it was 2021. You're not going to have people beating down the door unless it's priced perfectly and in a perfect location. Like, for example, Garrett on our team put a house on the market in pretty far North Scottsdale, not as far as Desert Mountain, but North Scottsdale, gated community, put it on the market yesterday, has a full price offer on it today.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the buyers are there, and I would tell a seller, buyers are there. The market is strong. The market's healthy. Just, it might take a little bit longer, but we'll find the buyer. They're coming. And just be patient. Just know that I can't speak for everybody in the industry, but our team prides ourselves on doing everything we possibly can to put that reach out there and find the right buyer and market it the most appropriate way we can.
Yeah, that's experience, knowledge, reputation, all those things that really matter, that people take for granted in an easy market.
And some people don't even know how to do that.
Right. I won't go there, but
right,
yes, I agree.
Right?
But
exactly.
I totally agree. And I know, your company you work for, Silverleaf Realty. So and I know that's not where you only focus, but for a minute, real quick, if someone doesn't know where Silverleaf is, can you just give a quick?
So if you're in, say for example, you're in Scottsdale or Phoenix for that matter, you've got the 101 that makes the full circle all the way around the valley. Silverleaf is northeast of the 101. So up against the McDowell Mountains, you've got McDowell Mountain Ranch, then Silverleaf DC Ranch, and it just it follows that little Thompson Peak Parkway all the way around.
Yep, that whole 85255
85255
and a little bit beyond, right?
Yes.
And so I know you service the whole valley, so it's not just that, but I know you love that area. So what are some of the amenities or in those areas that you think are great that make you, well, A, live there, and then B, love it?
So, a lot of people say, like when I have a new buyer, for example, and I always ask them, well, tell me a little bit about your lifestyle. Well, we like to golf. We like to be able to get to the freeway to go to the airport or to a game or something like that. Where 85255 is, it could take you 5 to 7 minutes to get to the freeway, go south on the 101 or west on the 101. Wherever you need to go, it's very close proximity to everything. Shopping at Kierland and the Quarter. You can jump on the freeway, go south, go to Fashion Square, wherever you want to go. So location is key, but it's also north of, a lot of people think that North Scottsdale, there's nothing going on. That's so not true anymore. Maybe 15 years ago, but things are moving north. And we've got, Optima's building a $1 billion campus, so to speak, called Optima McDowell Mountain, right there on the southeast corner of the 101 and Scottsdale Road. You've got One Scottsdale that's going in on the north side of that, where you've got Portico, which is a high-rise condo community. You've got Nationwide, who just brought their corporate headquarters there. And there's just so much going on, so many different restaurants and shopping and activity, and it's just got a really good vibe, really fun.
So
and lots
of
golf courses. Yeah, lots of golf courses, hiking, outdoors. Whatever you want to do, it's right there.
It's funny because I'm a Phoenician still, but I'd love hiking up in Scottsdale. There's just such great trails when you get out of town.
Very peaceful.
Yeah. In my old bike riding days, we would ride our bikes out there before, when it was just the sticks, but now it's all these beautiful homes and beautiful communities.
And that happened fast, because when I moved here in 2000 or in 95, Pima was still just a 2-lane
highway. Yeah, that's
why
I ride my bike up it. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, but that's because I'm older than you are. Or what about Pinnacle Peak Vista? You said that's like a little secret spot that most people don't know. Hidden gem.
It's an absolute hidden gem. So that's where we live, and I'm borderline obsessed with our neighborhood, simply because you're far enough away, but you're close enough to get to wherever you need to, whenever you want to. You're surrounded by mountains and desert, but yet pretty, greenery and trees and cacti, and it's just a fun place to be. So if you're going north on Pima from Thompson Peak, you've got Los Gatos, which is a community on the west side, and then you've got Whitehorse, which was a luxury community built by Camelot and did very, very well and is doing very, very well. Pinnacle Peak Vista is kind of back behind that towards the mountains, and you've got a Pinnacle Peak Vistas 1, 2, and 3. And that's all that south of Pinnacle Peak and north of Thompson Peak and east of Pima. It's beautiful.
Well, I love it. And the interesting thing about it is you have HOA and non-HOA in the same community.
It's
something for everyone.
Yeah, you've got Pinnacle Peak Vistas 1, HOA, 2, no HOA, which is where we are, and 3 HOA. So, and it's not a huge HOA. It's just enough to monitor paint colors on houses and VRBOs and Airbnbs and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Is that a market, the VRBO, Airbnb market that you play around in much, or?
I don't. However, last year it's a very interesting market. So we're seeing, and I know this firsthand because I sold a home to somebody it was a $3.2 million house, and the folks who bought it specifically for corporate retreats and coaching and things like that. The people that live next to us sold theirs, and during COVID and the pandemic, where California was completely shut down. So he thought, well, I'll just put it out there and let these California people come in and rent it for $1,000 a night. And that's where the HOA would have come in nicely.
Right.
Instead of us calling the non-emergency number all night long. Hey, there's base going on. There's this going on. But that's changed. They're much more respectful now. Because I think that, I really think that once you are here, it's not just about a big party scene. It's enjoy yourself and live and have fun. And we, I love when I come home and I know that there's somebody next door. You can hear the kids playing in the pool, and it's obviously heated because it's chilly here right now. But they're here enjoying it from places like Idaho or Philadelphia or wherever they are, where it's so cold. They're here enjoying it, and why wouldn't you?
Well, and I think it's also a way to get a taste of the community before you move here. It's
Mhm.
been, we've done that a lot where we've gone for 2 or 3 months in the summer and stayed somewhere, and it's just fun to immerse yourself in what's going on, be able to see
Absolutely.
it from the streets versus just driving by or flying over it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Boys and Girls Club. I know that you're really part of that organization. I think it's a great organization. And why did you get involved with them, and what kind of help do they need?
So, I've volunteered since I was little. I love to give back, and Boys and Girls Club has always been something that's been in the back of my mind. And with my real estate career, I've been involved in a lot of different boards and committees and things like that, industry related. But I'm the first person who will answer the phone if an appraiser calls or someone has a question about a community that I tend to do a lot of business in. I love to help any way I can. I feel like we're all on the same team. But I never felt like I was really giving to the industry, but not giving to something like children. And children, Boys and Girls Club is, if you take a tour of any of those campuses that they have, unbelievable what they offer these kids. It's a safe place. It's a place where they can have someone help them with their homework. They become phenomenal citizens. They learn rights, wrongs, do's, don'ts. Be respectful. They actually have it's almost like they try to help them build a foundation to where they have the confidence to go out and do whatever it is they want to do. Artists, basketball players, attorneys, realtors, brokers, whatever it is. It's just a safe place for children, not just for children who have working parents who don't have a lot of time to give to them. It's for every kid. It's all about our youth and all about helping build them up to where they can be the best they can be. So I was given the opportunity last year to join the board, and naturally I jumped all over it, and I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm a part of it, and I look forward to doing whatever I can.
See, I just love it. I love anyone who I view as a business leader in our community also takes time out to do the other stuff as well.
You have to.
And it's interesting because I think if you actually follow, if you follow some of the most successful people in business, some of the most successful people in sports, that's a big part of their youth. And I think there's just so many other people that have had great lives because they've had someone else who's willing to impact them when their family can't.
And I think that's a lot of that has to do with gratitude, being grateful for what you have and wanting to help somebody else have that. It's incredible to watch what they do.
All right, so we covered a lot. We covered you, we covered your dogs, we covered the North Scottsdale area, 85255, your favorite places, the Boys and Girls Club. Is there something else that you wanted to talk about that we haven't mentioned?
I would say, yes, our market is going to continue to grow, in my opinion. People want to be here. So anybody wanting to get into this industry, and I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, getting into this industry is not a quick,
right.
It's not just a quick 3%. It's not even 3% most of the time. And you have to put a lot of work and effort into that. The people that you represent and your industry partners deserve you to respect what we all do. This is a very serious business, but it can be very fun and it can be very lucrative if you do it for the right reason.
All right, so someone new who's listening to this and that hit them, what would be your suggestion of the first place to start if they were trying to get into the business?
Have a savings of at least 6 to 9 months reserve, because that's how long it can take you to close your first transaction. And reach out, make a list of your sphere. Who do you get your hair cut by? Who do you go to the doctor? Who's your parents' friends? Who's your dog sitter? Who are your neighbors? And start letting people know what you're doing and why, and have a really good reason for your why. Not just because it's a quick, I want to do this part-time and make some extra money. Have a reason for it and a purpose for it, and stay on top of it and work your database. And it could take you a couple of years, but I've been doing it for 21 years, and most of my business is repeat or referral at this point.
Right, and that's the best kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anytime
Absolutely.
you can ask a friend for a referral and they can refer you to you, that's obviously
Mm-hmm.
someone who's in great hands and super lucky.
I've had two referrals this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of feel like a high five's in order. I
Right?
don't think I've ever high fived anyone here before, but you know, that's all right. You have to do
Yeah.
that when. But I think that's super cool. I mean, I think that speaks a lot to the business, and I love the fact that you take the time to talk to people about that, because I feel like HGTV's made it look really easy to be an investor. Really, you know, I don't know. Last time I redid my kitchen, it was more than $5,000. Like the people on there, oh, that was $5,000.
And it didn't take you 24 hours.
No. Luckily, 24 months. But,
Yeah.
You know, well, not quite that long, but you know, definitely a lot different. And so I think that's the real estate market is different than what it looks like there. And you know, I think that people who have put in the time, built the relationships, and you said it, you have to have a why. You have to really have a reason for doing it. So So I'm grateful for you coming on here.
Thank you. I'm grateful for
doing that.
being here.
All right, thewgroup.com.
thewgroupaz.com.
thewgroupaz.com.
That's okay.
And how else, is that the best way for someone to find you, or is there other contact information we should include?
Cell phone 480-229-3455. And then all of us have emails. Lisa at the W Group AZ, Garrett at the W Group AZ, Jamie at the, so whoever you want to reach, feel free.
We will get that in the show notes. I'm super grateful for you taking the time. I just said that twice, but that's all right. I'll say it a third time. Thank you for your time. I'm grateful. And now you all know about Lisa Westcott in 85255 and the rest of everything great that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by homebuyeruniversity.net, your free comprehensive guide to buying or refinancing your home. Click over to homebuyeruniversity.net to get started online today.